Well, this week's trade was dominated by a surprising show of strength in 5 firms that owe their survival to government intervention. In today's session, trading in these stocks totaled almost 40% of the big board's listed volume. The renewed interest in mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac fueling a month-long rally. Check out this chart. Fannie Mae is up 251% in the last month, and look at Freddie Mac, it's up 286%. These stocks were in big trouble. Now they're soaring. Banking giants Citigroup and Bank of America both in hawk to the government for over $40 billion. Today, both active, both higher, extending a month of gains. It has Citi up 75% and Bank of America on a run as well in the last month, up 35%. But really the standout, it's been AIG, 80% owned by the government. Some cite a short squeeze for this rally, but it's a rally that squeezed 277%, a 277% gain in the last 30 days out of a stock that was struck from the Dow 30 last fall. Let's bring in our bull and bear to talk about the rise of these stocks that have been left for dead. Peter Schiff, who is president of Euro Pacific. He's mostly a bear with some bullish tendencies. And James Altucher of StockPicker.com. He's generally a bull. James, it's great to see a familiar face. So I'm going to start with Peter. I'm going to start with you because when you see this kind of activity in stocks that some had left for dead last fall, what does it tell you about a state of a rally that has the Dow up 45% from its March lows?
Well, there's an old saying about suckers being born every minute. You know, a lot of these stocks, the financials in particular, you know, they're gambling. You know, you could trade them, but they're not viable investments. I mean, the financials are a great place to work, but they're a lousy place to invest. I mean, I'd sooner buy an airline. And the last thing you want to do is get in bed with the government. But there were a lot of stocks around the world that, you know, when they threw a lot of babies out with the bathwater. There's a lot of stocks that have risen dramatically because they got too cheap in 2008. But that's not the case. Many of these stocks are actually going to end up going bankrupt by the time we're all said and done. In fact, many of the companies, the only reason they're not bankrupt now is because the government keeps propping them up.
Okay, James, sorry to interrupt you there, but James, I want to get your take on this. Is there any reason to be bullish on any of these 5 stocks?
Well, you know, it's funny. I'm actually bullish in general on the financials, but these 5 stocks, no. I think there's AIG, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. These stocks in particular might very well be worth 0. I mean, the government owns 80% of them. They were heavily shorted. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but I do happen to think that the government is probably taking advantage of this to short squeeze all the short sellers. They're actually manipulating the stocks up. You think the government is behind
this short squeeze?
Yeah, I do think this is a short squeeze that the government is now manipulating upwards. They're doing the squeeze. Why are they doing that? Excuse me? Why
are they doing that?
Yeah. Well, you know, they're protecting their investment to some extent, and also it's good for them if their bailouts are working. And the way the way people think the bailouts are working is if the stock market goes up, if these stocks go up.
Well, I doubt they're smart enough to actually deliberately manipulate it, but certainly
they're pretty smart, though.
The low interest rates, the fact that interest rates are 0 and they're flooding the market with cash, I mean, that's the manipulation because people have plenty of money to gamble with, and that's what they're doing.
A lot of people say that's one of the reasons we're seeing this big activity in it. You know, Peter, I want to talk about the economy because a lot of people say one of the reasons these stocks are getting better is the economy is improving. Investors are becoming less risk-averse, and one of the reasons we're seeing them piling into these 5 stocks is because they are so. So you say this recession that some people say we're coming out of is only over because it's turning into a depression. What do you see that the markets don't?
Well, look, the markets get a lot of things wrong. The markets didn't even see this recession coming. The Dow was making new highs 2 months before it began. But, you know, whenever stocks go up, people look for a way to justify it. So the market's going up, and people are trying to justify it rationally based on an improving economy. The fact of the matter is stocks are rising even though the economy is not getting better. We're in worse shape than we were 6 months ago. Everything the government has done to solve the problem has made it worse. We get a temporary boost, but we're going to pay for this. Meanwhile, I don't think people are buying stocks because, you know, it's like the all clear. I think they're still risk adverse, but they're understanding the risk in currency. They're understanding the risk of holding the U.S. dollar and U.S. treasuries when we're printing all this money. And so people are trying to get rid of those risky assets, meaning U.S. dollars, and buy something else, something safer.
What do you think about Peter's take on this?
Well, I mean, you look at the data and you look at even Intel and Dell's news. The economy is coming back. It's at least stabilizing. The consumer's starting to buy computers again. They're going to buy computers even more so in October when the next version of Windows comes out. I do think the economy is stabilizing, and the stimulus is going to come in 2010,
but remember,
which could lead to a boom in the market.
That's not the economy stabilizing. That's us trying to reflate the bubble. We don't want consumers spending right now.
We're on the right side of a bubble now. Let's take advantage of it by buying stocks.
No, that's not the right side. We need consumers saving their money. We don't want them to buy anything right now.
Well, we need to make money. That's what we're focused on, is how do we make it. If we're on this side of a bubble, let's buy stocks.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to leave it right there. Thank you for joining us. Both of you are going to be back later in the show, but right now we are going to go to Senator John McCain. He is addressing a crowd at the Memorial for